Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so happy to have you joining us today for our session on how to help support classroom discussions around diversity, equity, inclusion, and human rights with your NewsBank resources. My name is Katherine Bergerson. I am the Vice President of Marketing at NewsBank, and I'll be joined today by my colleague, Matt Stawicki. We want to thank you for being here today, and want to let you know that this session is being recorded. A copy of the presentation will be sent to all of you tomorrow after the session, along with the recording. I would like to quickly share our agenda today and what really makes these collections, Black Life in America, Hispanic Life in America, truly unique. We will give you an overview of the collection and show you how to really pinpoint the most relevant information to your area of interest. We'll share ideas on how to build visibility of this resource, including ideas about how to help connect with teachers or students or your own assignments. We have engagement strategies and, of course, time for questions and answers. So if you see either a box that says question or chat, or maybe it's an icon, depending on the version of GoToWebinar that you have, enter your questions there. We will pause throughout the session in order to answer your questions, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. Quickly, I'd like to share a brief background on NewsBank. We are a leading news and information provider to research institutions, libraries, schools like yours, and we are proud to share that this year is our company's 50th anniversary, family-owned company. We're very proud of that. We aggregate sources from around the world, bringing you credible, vetted, global news sources, many of which are unique to NewsBank, and all are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from any device. So the reason we're all here is, of course, to take a walk through these incredible resources. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Matt Stawicki. He's the Vice President of Sales for K12 schools and community colleges. Hey, Matt.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank everyone for attending and giving us your time today. So today we're going to look at a couple of the resources that are part of our Core 4 collection. These resources, they deal with diversity, equity, inclusion, strongly support African American and Hispanic American studies. They are actual add-ons, so you can subscribe to these if you have Access World News or America's historical newspapers. They are very similar to these resources, so learning how to use them is very easy, being familiar with these other ones. One of the main differences we have with our Hispanic and Black Life in America resources is the way we built them. Instead of giving you the entire newspaper or magazine and so on, what we did is we built these two resources so that we could really target in to those specific areas of African American, Hispanic American studies, diversity, equity, inclusion, and so on. So we met with academia, with curriculum people in schools, with historians, to really get a good understanding of what was the information that was needed to support these studies. We then built algorithms that searched the vault of information that NewsBank has. That vault has billions and billions of documents. So you can imagine we just could not bring everything forward. So by running these algorithms, it allows us to bring forward the important information that supports these areas. It's updated daily. The information is being pulled from over 200 countries around the world. So you can get information that is hyper-local to a state, to a region, to national, to international. So it is really a very, very comprehensive resource. Having said that, let's dig in and get a look at these. Okay, everybody see my screen okay?
We can, yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So this is Black Life in America. And as I said, there's a lot of similarities in the look and feel of these resources. So if you're familiar with Access World News, for example, here's that Google-like search bar where you can type in a topic and search for virtually anything you want. Okay. I'm just going to hit search to kind of show you some of the big aspects around this database. So here you can see by searching without a specific topic, you can see how many documents I've got. So this database has grown dramatically since it first came out, which had about 80 million documents in it. It's now over 101 billion documents, and it's updated daily. So it's growing each and every day. Okay. Additionally, we get the information not just from today or from the past, but we're getting the information from tomorrow. You can see here this very first document dated March 1, 2023. We're getting this information before it actually hits the newsstands and goes to print. Additionally, we're pulling from just a tremendous number of sources. If I go down to my filter here for source name and click more options, you'll see that we're pulling from just shy of 20,000 sources. So there we go. We're pulling from 19,997 sources from around the world. And over 400 of them are considered Black publications. So as you can imagine, with all of this information, we have the content you're looking for. So the important part is, how do I get to that content? How do I get to the information I'm looking for? And that's where we've got these filters down the sidebar. So we immediately default to the newest first, but you can resort it by best match or oldest. We have multiple date selectors. So you've got a slide bar here that can narrow the information by date. We've got a way right here that you can actually enter your own set of dates. So if I wanted to explore the race riots from the 1960s, I could literally do 1960 here to 1970, apply, and that will filter my information down to just those dates. We've got multiple source types, so it's not just newspapers, as you can see. It's audio, professional blogs, college and university newspapers, journals, magazines, newsletters, newspapers, newswires, transcripts, video, web-only content. I can filter to any one of these source types, and this more option bar allows me to check box if I wanted multiples. As I mentioned, source name, we looked at that. You can key in on any one source that you wish. Source location. So, as I mentioned, 200 countries around the world. So I can filter to continent, country, region, state, province, city. So example is, if I only wanted information from a specific state, let's say New York, for example, I can go here, click apply, and now I'm only going to get information from New York. So I've got almost 6 million documents just from New York. Now, to show you the idea of getting hyper-local, if I click more options here now, you'll see that we're pulling information from 252 cities in the state of New York alone. So if I wanted to go to Auburn, I could go to Auburn. If I wanted Amityville, I could just click and get just information from Amityville. So it really allows you to compare location to location and so on, not just within a state or state to state, but something in the States to a country in Africa. So you can really, really do a lot with that, as you can imagine. Okay. I'm going to clear my filter, which is right here, so I can show you multiple languages. So it's not just English. We've got a lot of Spanish, French, German. So as you can see, all of these different languages, 40 different languages available. Some of it is very small, some of the content, and historical in nature, okay? But all of these different languages are available, and that's the native language that we get the information from. So it's not using a translator. You can filter by your errors in history, and you can filter by presidential errors. So depending on what the project calls for, what is the assignment? Is it for a specific locale? Is it for specific dates and locale? You apply your different filters to get to the information. So that's one of the keys, and anyone that's familiar with the Access World News or even historical newspapers is already familiar with those filters. One of the other big things or keys to this database, again, similarity to America's historical newspapers, is this timeline. So you can see here, this timeline highlights every major era in history, but from an African American experience. It's a pathway to discovery. You can see under each of these eras, we've got a specific set of topics. Laws and legislation, military, notable people, rebellions, and so on. Click on any one of those, and you'll see those events or those people that are tied to that specific category. As you go through, you'll note more and more of these categories open up. So we're getting into the laws and the legislature. We're getting into literature and arts, science, technology, culture, society, and so on. So we get into all of these different areas. If I click on any one of these, for example, notable people, and I go to Cato Octavius, educator, and one of the civil rights activists, you'll see very, very targeted search to bring me information specifically around Octavius. Okay, I can change anything up here if I wish and rerun my search. An example, if I go into this specific article, you'll see it is an image edition of a historical newspaper, the Philadelphia Inquirer, from January 16th, 1877. Okay. You've got tools for the user. So you can search for more information in this article or this page. There's one of your big differences. Only one page of this newspaper is loaded because that's where the information was found. So that was found on page 3 of this issue of the Philadelphia Inquirer. I can create a citation and export it to Noodle Tools, RefWorks, or EasyBibs. There's an example of the MLA citation. I can email the information to someone. I can clip out a piece of this article. I can print the full article or a clip, download full article or a clip, save to an internal folder. And here I've got this copy link function. So that is a Duro link. So if I click copy, that will bring me to, always bring me to this article. So I can put it into a lesson plan. I can email it to a teacher, to a student, to a parent. When they open it up, it always opens to this article. If you're using Google Classroom, this button looks familiar where you can download it right to an assignment. Okay. And again, on page 3, if we had multiple pages, we would see them. And then we always have our breadcrumbs to go back to where we came from. So I just click and I'm right back to where I was. And as you'll see, we go all the way up to present day because this database is updated daily. We rerun those algorithms every single day. So if I go into something recent, activists, groups, and protest movements, you'll note all of this information. Okay, so Defund the police, of course, with some of the happenings that have gone on recently. A big push on defunding the police again. So this is giving me the information on when that first started. And you'll note, instead of being a historical newspaper, I've got current full text articles. This is telling me when it first started. So example, I mentioned how you can modify and rerun these searches. I'm going to click the X and get rid of that date. And now I can rerun that search without that date field to get newer information. So here is a newer article. It's a full text article. And if I go into that, you'll see it's got a little bit of a different look and feel than that image edition of a historical newspaper. And again, tools for the user: increase the text size, create that citation, the email function, the print function, and include the citation, the download, the save to my folder, the Doro link. Again, copy the link, can put it into a lesson plan up on a whiteboard, always opens to this article, Google Classroom button, and all full text articles have a read along. That will highlight the words and read right along with it. So we do indeed support tier 1, 2, and 3 learners this way. I go back to search. Okay, I could go to the next article, or I can just simply click NewsBank and go back to Black Life in America. So as you can see, all of these are very much the same, the way they work and so on. Now, last but not least, with all of these, you'll see here, arts and literature I get into and so on. If there's something you're looking for and you didn't find it, if you let us know what that event, person, whatever it is, was, we can look into our archive, into those billions and billions of documents. If we have that information, we'll build it for you, if it makes sense to add it. An example of that is right here, Fisk Jubilee Singers. As it turns out, one of our school districts in Texas has an African American Studies course that has the Fisk Jubilee Singers as part of one of their units. So they asked us if we could add it. So we searched, and yes, we had the data, and we added that content for them. So we're helping them get to that relevant information that they need. Again, that pathway to discovery. So that gives you a real good idea of the Black Life in America database. As you can see, very easy to use, very similar to what you're familiar with. Any questions on that?
Thank you, Matt. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, let's pause here for a moment just to remind people, you may see a question or a chat in a gray bar, or it might be an icon. Feel free to put your questions in there. We do have a few, Matt. Is there a way to toggle to editorial or opinion sections?
Yes, there is. So example would be, if I'm looking for information on immigration, I'll just put better yet, let's do diversity. Okay. So if I do a search on diversity, okay, it's going to do a keyword search and it's going to bring me all the matches. So in this case, I've got 3.5 million. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this advanced search button, because what you want to do is you want to narrow it down to a specific section, right? So I'm going to type in here, after the diversity, we've got and editorial, and I'm going to do this pull down, okay, and I'm going to go down to section. So now when I hit that search bar, I've got diversity and editorial as the section. And you'll note here that when I click on this article, it's telling me right where it came from. The section is editorial, okay? Now, I will caution you when you do that in this database, because it is image edition of historical newspapers and current newspapers and full text, that section function will only give you full text articles as a result, because the metadata is not there for the image editions.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt. Another question, and more specifically to Hispanic life in America, about languages, and if you could talk a little bit more about particularly what's available in Spanish language.
Okay, great. That's a great segue right into the Hispanic Life in America database. So I'll jump over to that right now. And again, you can see here, Hispanic Life looks just like Black Life. That Google-like search bar, here is that timeline, but from a Hispanic American perspective. So it's giving us their information. Now, this database, again, now we're over 50 million documents. When this first came out just a year ago, as a matter of fact, it had less than 46 million documents in it. So it is growing again daily, just like Black Life in America, updated every day. We rerun the algorithms, and here again, information from March 1. Okay. If I go down to, again, to my source name and click more options, I can see exactly how many sources we have in this database now. So we're just shy of 18,000. We're now pulling from 17,873 different sources, of which over 700 of those sources are in Spanish language, okay? And again, it's pulling from over 200 countries. So we're getting that local, state, regional, national, international perspectives that we need. So it allows you to do that compare and contrast and so on, okay? Now, same filters as well. So we went through these filters. You'll see exactly the same filters. So again, the content is there depending on the project requirements. You can filter to date, to location, to source type, so on and so forth, okay? So that search bar works exactly the same. Now, as you can see the timeline, again, every major era in history from, again, 1700s all the way through to present day. One of the things that I like to point out that Black Life in America also has is, here's a category called historical reflections. When I click on that, you'll see it's getting into information and Hispanic experiences and impacts, but from the 1500s. Well, needless to say, we don't have that content. But what we can do is we can reflect on that from what we do have that talks about these events, these people. So example, Ponce de Leon, if I click on that, here it is. I get information on Ponce de Leon. And oh, wow, I can go down here and here's a history of America that's talking about Ponce de Leon and the his explorations and finding Florida and so on. So example, here's a great time where maybe I want to use that clip function, okay? So if you use the clip function, you see I clicked on it, I get to size it, so I can highlight and size it right over what I want. So I want this portion of the article that talks about his expeditions to Florida. And now I can print it, download it, save it to Google. I'll include the citation for myself and download. So now this clips it directly off of that page. You can see that's running right here. And here I've got a nice clean PDF of that portion of the article that I'm now writing my essay about. And here's the citation that I get to include. Okay.
Beautiful.
Jump back to this. Got my breadcrumbs, brings me right back. Okay. And you'll see all of the different things. So Zoot Suits and Riots, West Side Story, right? So you get into here and arts and entertainment and, oh, West Side Story, classic, right? Academy Award winning picture. Click on that. It runs that search and again shows you that search. Here's a good example. They did a remake. Maybe I want to get information from current day. Get rid of that date, hit search. It reruns it for me. And now I can get information on that Academy Award winner and who was elected to get an award and so on, okay, by clicking on these articles. Okay, I'll go back again, click here, go back to my, and again, current information, right? So all the different categories, notable people, Sylvia Acevedo, right? Girl Scout named new CEO. So, I mean, you want to talk about a great story. Starts as a Girl Scout and of America, and she's a CEO and a rocket scientist. I mean, you can just, so many things to talk about and so on, that it's just amazing the content that's in here. And again, you've got everything you need to support your activities, your research and so on. It's just a matter of how do you get to that data? And that's these filters and what we like to call these pathways to discovery. Any questions on, Hispanic life or Black life that we just went through?
Matt, thank you. That was so very comprehensive. Oh, the examples were great. We're getting some nice feedback from Rose and from Phyllis that yes, so they are enjoying the examples, but right now I think we, in the interest of time, are going to move on. And if there are more questions, we'll pause in a few more moments. So now that you know more about this fantastic resource and how to pinpoint the information, we want to help you get it into the hands of your colleagues, your teachers, your students. And so we have top 5 strategies to help build awareness and engage your users with Hispanic life in America and Black life in America. The first is to host a hands-on training, very similar to what we're doing right now. NewsBank offers complimentary training sessions for our customers. So gather a group and Matt's team will be happy to show you guys how to customize the resource to best fit the needs of your school or your college. You can even use this presentation. You can use Matt's portion. You'll receive a recording and you're able to share it with others who may find it beneficial. Some schools tell us that they use it as part of their professional development days. So we're happy to help wherever we can with that. Number 2, build your online web presence. So of course, the more places you can add links and show off these resources, the more likely it is that people will discover it. So if you do a featured resource of the month or a did you know section, add Hispanic life in America or Black life in America. And of course, you could do this anytime during the year. If it's new, it's a new database, but Black History Month, feature it. Hispanic Heritage Month, feature it. There are just some, natural ties to really highlight these resources. And we have graphics and product descriptions available for you to use. You can see a few examples here of how other customers are incorporating it into their websites and library databases. Number 3, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but NewsBank resources integrate with Discovery Service and learning management systems like Blackboard, Canvas. We have a very robust web page with PDFs and video instructions on how to add articles to your assignments. And so I'd like to share just a couple examples with you. So you can enhance your assignments and programs. Perhaps you're featuring a particular book or an art exhibit or author. Pull an article about that author or artist that has some interesting facts from Black life in America or Hispanic life in America for some background information. Many teachers tell us that they feel that those articles really provide context and offer a more well-rounded real-world experience for students. Another idea is to pull articles from the database to compare and contrast an issue or to see how an issue is covered over time. As Matt mentioned, that historical information can be so interesting, and to have those images really attracts students and helps them see sort of how the past informs the present. And third idea here is to create your own idea. Perhaps it's a significant event in your school's history, or a famous alumni, or whatever's trending. So just an interesting article to share and remind your teachers and your students that they can find more articles like this in their Hispanic Life in America and Black Life in America resources. So yes, we integrate with those discovery services and LMS so that you can easily put them into the assignments that you're creating. Number 4, newsletter nuggets. I love to say this. We have ready-to-use write-ups, graphics about each of these resources. They can make a great addition to the newsletters that you're already sending out, maybe internally to staff, or even use them in social media posts. Here you can see some examples of how others are using our write-ups. They're brief, copy and paste them, edit them if you'd like to customize them to your school or district, but we certainly encourage you to, just get the word out. So it makes a great supplement to your newsletter or social media. Number 5, video views. Video is the #1 way to engage, as you likely know. And we have brief overview videos about how to use Black Life in America and Hispanic Life in America. We have brief videos about what's included in the content. They're less than 2 minutes each. Please feel free to add these to your website near the resource or your YouTube page or social media. We want you to use them and share, so please feel free. So I want to show you just one more thing quickly. Our resource center, www.newsbank.com. This is a marketing resource center built for schools, and you can see that my top 5 are there. There's much more. There are bookmarks you can print out, search tips, press releases, all sorts of ways to engage your students and your teachers. I really encourage you to, if you're perhaps not the communications person, send this page to whomever is in control of sending out newsletters or generating that content, and they may find some information here helpful. So I'll pause here again for questions, and let's see if any questions have come in. Matt, I think this question is for you. How often are suggested topics updated?
So the suggested topics, they will be updated based on requests from our users, #1. When they ask for something that they don't find in there, we'll then add that topic and so on in there. And then #2, we're constantly keeping an eye on what's happening out there in the world today so that we can update it with any new areas that need to be added, new topics as those things occur. Of course, the historical side of things, that's pretty stagnant, unless, again, a user finds something that we're not covering. But as new things occur, we do try and add them. Sometimes, you'll find we add stuff monthly. Sometimes it might be, we haven't added something in a couple of months, 3 months, 6 months, because nothing new has changed.
Certainly. And the information within those suggested topics, of course, that it is updated daily as news happens.
Correct.
So the topics may not change, but the news within them is updated daily.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you. And a question about, let's see, lesson plans. Can you tell us more about the daily lesson plans?
So the daily lesson plans are available in the via the Access World News main page, which you would use to get to the resources. If you want to share my desktop, I can get to that real fast and just give a fast illustration there. Okay, so from your main Access World News page, from this main page, you've got access to these daily lesson plans. And then from there, what we've got is we do 10 headlines every day. And during the school year, we create a lesson plan around one of those headlines. And you've got the link here that says view all lesson plans. So you'll see here, we've got 5,296 lesson plans. And this, for example, is the one from today, strikes in the United Kingdom. And when I click on that, you'll see here's that lesson plan, the link to the original article, educational standards, and those are general education standards. Lesson plans that are always 4 sets of questions around that specific topic. Search to get related articles, because you will need to do research to answer all of those questions. Vetted websites and links to vetted sites that will help you get more information. Presentation and assessment options. They're all organized exactly the same way, and they can be searched via keyword right here. So if I was looking for information on DNA, you'll see here DNA, on financial literacy, and so on. So it keys in on the title of the actual lesson plan.
One last plug for our resources. Today's presentation is just one step in our commitment to working with you. I encourage you to take a moment right now, again, if you haven't already, download the document in the handout section so you can refer back to this in the future. It has the direct links to everything we talked about, so you don't have to search around our website or within the product. We have direct links there. And if you have any trouble downloading the document and you would like me to just send it to you in an email, great, no problem. Shoot me an email, I'll send it right over to you. So these are links to the customized training session. Again, Matt and his team are happy to work with your school or your group to get you up to date and up to speed on your resources. Our customer service, if you have any trouble, our resource center, that marketing and resource center that has the social media posts, the bookmarks, all of those things, the link is there. Our videos, LMS integrations, and more. You can find them all right here. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you. I hope that you have found this training session valuable and that you really feel like you have some actionable ways to reach out to your teachers and students and parents right away. As you log out today, you'll see a brief survey, I think with 3 questions. Please take a moment to let us know what you thought about today's session, how we can improve in the future. On behalf of the NewsBank team, thank you for sharing part of your day with us. Goodbye.